Welcome back. Serverless SQL. We are talking about the serverless SQL in this video. What is serverless SQL? How it works, and we'll be doing a quick demo about the serverless SQL pool, and we'll understand in depth about this tools. So for that, I'm gonna bring one quick item here. So in Synapse, Azure Synapse, as you said, as you see here, in Azure Synapse, we will have two types of SQL server. One is serverless SQL, another is dedicated SQL. So dedicated SQL is designed for data warehousing. Like name said, dedicated. We can make the SQL to delegate to work something for a specific. So we can create the SQL database to in order to perform the data warehousing activity. That is something called the dedicated SQL pool, and which is we are covering through the separate video. We are not going to talk in detail about the dedicated SQL. I have the separate video about the dedicated SQL. So basically, dedicated SQL is for data warehousing purposes. However, for serverless, like it name said, there is no infrastructure for this SQL, no infrastructure to maintain. That's why this is going to be the cost effective, and it's going to charge how much we process the data only. It's not going to charge how many hours we run or things like that. So if you run 1 terabyte of data, it will charge maybe $5, right? This is just a number, but something like this. So cost effective. We don't have to maintain anything. This is by default server. And why we need, or where, in what condition, in which situation we have to use this serverless SQL is to view the data from text file, CSV file, JSON file, or Parquet file. So serverless, there is no server. Data will not saved on the database, but it will fetch the data from CSV file, from JSON file, Parquet file, and display for us. We can create external tables for that, and the table will be stored on database, but that just a script will be stored. Data will not store. So this is kind of the T-SQL query without copying a data, basically, right? So we are not copying a data, but this is T-SQL query only, where we can piece the data from these files directly. So data will be in file. We'll see the data in SQL through using this technique. Why we want to do this? This is just to review this file. What kind of data in this file? So if you want to review the data quickly with cost-effective manner, if you want this file larger, if you want to process larger file, in that situation we will be using serverless SQL. On top of it, I have something here. What is the best case to use serverless, and what are the worst case to use the serverless, right? So the best case scenario to use serverless is exploring the raw data. If you want to explore CSV file, JSON file, we'll be using. This can be used for ETL, data transformation, before we work for data warehousing. Like for the staging area, you can use it. I can show you how. ADA queries. These are the basically ADA queries and cost-saving analysis, for cost-saving data analysis. These are the conditions we use serverless SQL. Where not to use? For the high performance and index queries, we do not recommend to use serverless. Instead of we are using dedicated SQL pool. If the query requires complex join and frequent update, we are not going to use serverless SQL. We'll be using something else. And if it's need consistent in storage, structured storage, then this is not the place to go. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to show you how this really works, right? We just say that we are going to view the data directly from the text file or CSV file, JSON file, Parquet file. So now I'm going to do the quick demo how it's going to work. So I have my Azure Studio here opened in VM. What I need to do is basically I need to open since we talk about this is Synapse SQL, so I have to open the Synapse. So let me go and open Synapse Analytics. and I already have the Synapse Analytics created. Within Synapse Analytics, it's always um, by default. I'm going to open this studio, Synapse Studio here. It will take a few seconds, less than a minute, to open the Synapse Analytics Studio. Once this studio open, I have the separate video about the Synapse Studio, go over everything. But in this video, we are specifically talk about SQL Pool, serverless SQL Pool. I can go directly to this data, and I can show you where the file is. File are already linked in this workspace. The file are in data lake Gen 2. If I click here, I can see we have the folder called the file. So in this file, what I can do is I can go here and search. If I go to the home page and then search for our storage account, or if I go to the storage account, I have Delta Lake files here. And if I go to data browser and container, I can see my container like file. Within these files, I have sales folder. Within this sales folder, I have CSV, JSON, and Parquet folder. These are in my storage account. So these storage account are mapped in my Synapse Studio as a link server. So I can see the sales folder. Within the sales folder, I have CSV, JSON, and Parquet files. I have 3 CSV file. I do have 3 or more JSON files here. I have some Parquet file here. So and the serverless SQL, how to see the serverless SQL, right? To see the serverless SQL, I can go to this manage tab, and then I can see it directly here. SQL pool. I have only one SQL pool, which is called the serverless. I do not have any other type is dedicated. If I create the dedicated SQL, we have to create manually, and this is automatic. By default, built in. We don't have to manage it. We don't have to maintain it. We don't have to do anything basically. This server, right? This is we don't have to pause it. We don't have to delete it. It's automatically it's server. So why we need that is something we are going to explore. So as we see on here, we said we are viewing the data from the CSV file, right? So if I go to the CSV here, I can there is this type of CSV. If I right click the CSV and new SQL script, top 100 rows, I can create the top 100 rows here. Right, these are if I run this, I can see the top 100 row. So right click top 100 row, it will create. So in this file, in this CSV file, this looks like it doesn't have the column name, but it shows the data here. I have 100 here. I can change this script name is CSV data, and I also can choose to all row. So it's going to be saved here. So in this file, we have this kind of data. It seems like we do not have a column. So if I want to give the column name, what I can do is I already I have this script ready. I can give the column like with clause here. So this is what I run. Now I can give the additional column, this column name here, and if I rerun it again, the column name will be populated there. Incorrect syntax with near with. Okay, so basically I do not want this as a result. So if I rerun it, I do not alias. So these are the column name. I can edit. So this is for CSV data. Let me go back to the file, and then let me go to the Parquet file. Let's say Parquet file, and then let me view the Parquet data, top 100 row, right? And then I can need to select the Parquet file for Parquet for 2019. It create the script for us, open row set from this file, and what it does is create the bulk link on this path. This is nothing but my source file path, right? So and then format is Parquet, and I just need to run this data. It will give me the data. Okay. So these are the data set on that Parquet file. What we can also do it is instead of select top 100, we can do some kind of manipulation, like we can do some group by and things like that. Like instead of selecting a top 100, I want to select count, right? Count is item count. But based on for that, I wanted to group by, basically group by order date. Order date. Right. Even like not order date, but I can filter year only. Year. Order. Since I'm going to use these group by order, I have to use that same thing on select statement as well, right? So I can read on this. I still can run this data, but now my result will be and group by answer. So this is what my result will look like. So it looks like we have 2019 data. Of course, we pull that 19 file only, and there is 1201 result. Okay. Now I have the JSON. Let me go to the JSON file, and let me do the same thing. Right click and top 100, and it automatically create this. And what I'm going to do is I can also manipulate as I want on this file. Right. This is something we can run. Or let me do this. Rename JSON data. Top. This one is what bucket data? Bucket data are all row. So this script, I'm just saving it with this name. I'm gonna publish once I make a change, so it will be saved. And let's say the another feature is we can create. Let me go to JSON again, right? So let me go to the JSON, and then let me create select. I have done that. Let me go to CSV file, and then there is something called the create the external table. Create the external table. I'll show you what this means. So as of now, without we are just bringing the data, looking the data. We can just manipulating some as we want. We can view this data. Also, what we can do is we can see the chart. We can view the data structure. We can save this chart in JSON PNG. Let me go to the CSV and click on chart. This has, and I can change a chart like a pie chart or a scalar, or whatever it makes sense, right? I'm not familiar with this data, so based on the request, you can view this data. You can verify this file data, and you can send those data to user if they want. Also, you can send this table structured data in this format again. You can do. So these are the things you can do here. What else you want to do is, as of now, until this point, we do not have anything created on workspace. So workspace is something we'll cover in different video in detail about the workspace. But workspace is basically anything you create the table, anything you create store procedure, any table store procedure views. If you create it, it will be saved in on your workspace automatically. As of now, we have not created any tables, so it hasn't created anything. But once we let's say once we create the external table, I'll create the external table right here. Let's say I hope it's gonna detecting the file, and it's gonna CSV file font row 0 default empty true false. So basically we can preview the data as well. It doesn't have the column name. If it is a column name, then it would be easier to do that. But let me still do the continue built-in sales database. Select the database. Let me create the new database like a sales database to create that external table, right? Schema table name. Let's say using is create the external table using. Let me do that automatically. Let's see. It sounds like OpenScript. It does not support to create the external table directly as of now, sounds like. But what we can do is instead in CSV data, since we know the column name like this, what we can do is we can create external. Let me let me make some space here down there. Let me bring some script here. Okay, external. Okay, so what I'm doing here is basically I am creating external file path, external file format. Actually, file format is CSV file we are using, and I'm creating the table. This is just the schema. Order table, and then I'm fetching that from the data source, sales data, and the CSV file. I have not declared the source yet, so I have to declare the source right here, source path. So in order to declare the source path, I have another script here. Let me bring down this. Let me copy this path into here. So this is, I already created the database. I can use database right here. Let me see if it is. Okay. If I have not created the database, I can create the database through this as well, right? And then I have to create the external data source. So this is the path for that data. Data source has been created as a sales data, and I am creating external file format, which is nothing but CSV file format. Create the CSV file format as well. Now I am creating external table and bringing the data into that external table as of now. Okay, let me publish this CSV data and then refresh it. I'm going to publish and refresh and show you there is nothing in workspace as of now. There is nothing in workspace. Okay, there is sales database created. Database, since I created database, I created sales database, then now it is populated sales database. But within the sales database, we have the external table, external resource views schema. We do not have external table yet. But as soon as I create the external table and load the data here, create the table and then load the data, it will be executed successfully. So basically now I need to refresh again. My table should be in this external table. In external table, I have order table right here. So within the order table, I have the columns. These are the columns. So the schema has been created on my workspace. And for the external resources, what are the sources, right? So it will be in there. The views, the schema, security. We can change all our give the security for this this external table, the access and things like that. So we create the external table using serverless SQL Pool. Basically, the difference is this table is just like a view. So every time now, if you want to see the data from this table, top 10 100, every time you run this, it will be run fetch the data through your file only. So if I run it, hopefully it's gonna bring the data. For some reason, I have seen this error. External table DB order is not accessible because content of directory cannot be listed. I'm not sure what this is. I have to review it. It sounds like there is some permission related issue is going on the source file. That's why the data is not fetched. However, data, if there is those issues resolved, the data should be published here. If I want to top 100 or if you want to calculate any group by or any manipulation, we can do those activity or see the data from here. So this is external table, right? So what we have done is on CSV data, let me see, save this ext or an external table, external order table. Order table, I can see the 100 all rows. However, there is issue. I have to take a look and come back with you guys with the resolution. But what I'm telling is in serverless SQL, there's two things happening. We can review the data directly from the source file, and also we can create the external table in the workspace. And this is something called the lake database. So the lake database, concept of the lake database will be covered through the separate video. I'm going to create the what is lake database concept. So we'll be revisit that time the almost same concept. But for now, serverless SQL is pretty much is like this. So We can create the external table. We can view the data. We can, what else we can do is we can run the data. We can see the result in bar chart, chart and diagram, and we can save them and send to them directly, things like that, right? So these are the things I wanted to cover about the serverless SQL topics. So I think hope serverless SQL is cleared. Without a server, we don't need to maintain anything. We can view from these things. We can also create external table and things like that. So these are serverless tables. Serverless table are not a full table. Is not serverless table are not going to use a data warehousing concept. Is not OLTP table, right? Is a totally separate concept. And these are part of the Synapse thing. So those are everything I want to cover. So thank you so much for your time. Bye for now.